Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psychic Investigator. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psychic Investigator. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psychic Investigator. So, guys, I wanted to cover this interesting topic, and it's about AI. I talk about it from time to time, right? But I'm sure we've seen it by now. So over the weekend there were graduation speeches, and one of them was by Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, and he was talking about AI and of course the discourse around AI by the people that are selling it is like, well, so sorry for you. You're not gonna have a job. You're not gonna do anything. Life is over. But so you might as well embrace it, right? You're gonna love it. It's so bizarre how they really almost like they don't understand humanity. So then he was booed. And this is a guy who's very, very smart. He's very successful. It's almost like that's the first time in his life where he was booed. Right? I think it sounded like he was kind of not expecting it. So I felt it was encouraging. It was amazing to hear how unanimous it was and how quick it was that they booed him. Like it was like boom, like. So I want to know, this is because of this is like the way they frame this and the way they're giving way too much power to some kind of like AI whatever. Again, it's useful, but it's not all of the things they're claiming it to be. So I'm just interested, what's going to happen to the generation that's graduating now? And what does this mean for the future of AI, right? Like, how could people be excited about a future that is busy, like, regardless of even the potential of AI, it's being used to justify all these firings and it's being used to damage like people's lives, basically, right? And then there's the data centers I talked about the other day. So what I like to know is what's going on with that. And yeah. And also the Pope is, it's interesting, he's involved in this AI discourse, but he's on the other side of it. And he's issuing, let me see here, let's see. He's okay. Okay, that's it. Pope Leo, let me find you. Pope creates artificial intelligence study group as Vatican prepares to release its first encyclical. I do not know what an encyclical is, so let's see here what it means. Okay, so Vatican City, Pope Leo XIV has created a study group on artificial intelligence, the Vatican said Saturday. The Vatican said Leo had decided to create the in-house study group because of the acceleration of AI use, its potential effects on human beings and on humanity as a whole, and the Church's concern for the dignity of every human being. Okay, so that's just interesting. It's interesting to juxtapose that versus like the attitude of somebody like Eric Schmidt. I was like, well, listen, you better get it together. Your life's over. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're not happy? Well, it's not meant to make you happy. Okay, it's made to make me rich. I'm already a multi-billionaire, but who cares about you? Who cares about you? So, anyways, and the other part of this video that I want to talk about is what spirit message about AI. I'm just curious to see, and the way it's being framed and all of it. So, all right. So, I'd like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out a greater circle, I step into it. I feel protected, I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that they create the good, the good, and so it is. So, so all right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay, so now to the question. What does the booing of Eric Schmidt mean at Arizona mean? Now, I want to say something else, respond to a couple of comments. Some people have said, "Oh, Rosie, you don't need cards. You good just do visions is good enough, or you're really good at it." But the point is, I just want to tell you, I always in this type of video, okay, I do the visions first, and you could see in the header here, I'm gonna add a header with a title. At the beginning of the title, you can just skip forward. I have the visions at the beginning and then the cards. You don't have to watch it. For me, to be honest, right now it is helpful because it allows me to see things to get more in depth. Okay. So that's that. It's just to tell you. All right. So what is the booing of Arizona mean for AI and for Gen Z? So it shows me kind of the scene as we perceived it, right? So there's this guy on the stage, and he's saying also he feels that, okay, it's interesting, something interesting, that he is, of course, very successful, and he knows what he's talking about here. There he is in his mind doing you a favor in that situation because I've listened to a couple of speeches about that he not his speeches like interviews that he was interviewed one time in Stanford. It was actually quite interesting. He was talking about the hiring process at Google. And at some point, he talks about how they decided that they would only hire people from Ivy League schools, and how unless people had some kind of extraordinary ability, according to them. So the early employees of Google, were all Ivy Leagues and Stanford grads, and he talked about how they went about it and so forth. So I see that he in his mind these kids are lesser than because they would never have been hired at Google when he was like at the early in the early days of Google. So does it make sense? So I think this adds to his condescension. This add like he doesn't in his mind he doesn't even think of these kids as like having a voice at all. So I see him from above from his perspective, and it's just like wow, let me just dang them with my presence. And what's interesting then when I look at the kids, they're like wow, wow, howling and being like a young person, and they don't care in a good way, right? They're not actually believing or listening to him because they're not under the illusion that he cares about them either. Does it make sense? So in a way, it's an act of rebellion more than anything, but it's also an act of hope because they don't buy what he's saying, and it's saying they have used AI for some of whatever schoolwork for random things, but they know it's not all that. And it's saying they want to show them because it's saying we understand very clearly what they're telling us. They're telling us that AI is a tool that allows them to dismiss humanity, to say, because I create AI, I'm better than you. So shut the fuck up, right? That's what he's saying. And they're like, no, I don't think so. So this is it. It's saying they are refusing to obey. They're refusing. They're acting like humans, and they're loving it, and the world's loving them for it. And this really messes up the head of these guys who thought that everything is figured out and that humans are just whatever, they just have to get with it. They don't get it because it's saying you don't even go to Harvard or Stanford. Who are you? Kind of thing. He's angry. I don't think he's angry. It's just like, oh, oh weird. Okay. So that he was not expecting that. Like I said, in his mind, he's doing them a favor. So that's interesting. All right. So now let's go to hear the question. What does this mean? What does the booing of Eric Schmidt in Arizona mean? Mean for oh cards fell. It's always okay. Oh, there he is. Maybe that's him. Okay. Let's see here. This base thing is weird. I I have this weird. Ugh, my God, it's so heavy. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. So, all right. Oh my God. Ugh. Okay. So, oh my God. Let's see here. So, what does this mean? I think for, yeah, for, what does this mean overall? That's him. Okay. So, now this is a really, guys, a really interesting card. Actually, you know, it was. I feel like I learned so much. And I remember how I used to do cards much more often. But there is something really interesting about them. So, this card is about, it's a Four of Cups upright. It's the card of somebody receiving an offer but being apathetic or not wanting what the not interested in what's in the cup. And that's exactly the situation, right? Here's Eric Schmidt thinking that he's doing them a huge favor, and here they're like, I don't think so. Creating an ending. Interesting. Ending money or crap. Oh, interesting. That's right. So the powerful guy is here. He's creating an ending. They're refusing the offer because this offer is creates an ending for prosperity overall. So, from the perspective of the kids, okay. Also, if you read it in some aspects from the perspective of maybe from or just the answer of the situation, it creates an ending for the AI bubble, right? This is death upside down. So, the different perspective. Now here, answer something important. Answer for a long time. The anchor card sometimes it relates to careers. Okay. Letter, message about the values. Interesting. So it's an important and lasting message about values. Very interesting. Wow. Very profound here. Interesting. This is see the different anchors. So this is a vision or hope. Also illusion and the house. The house, I don't think it's the White House. It could be the family. Or stability, or like security and stability. Here is the young women that are feisty. Payments, okay, or surprise. Unexpected, something unexpected. Okay, so we have interesting again, the house. You could say that maybe this is about security, right? Security, interesting. Attack. Attack on the security. This is the law. Information, interesting. Scholars, university. So that's really interesting, actually, because it's so this man has an answer, a vision that is against security. I think this is Eric Schmidt, right? And then we have here an offer of permanence, something permanent that feels like an attack, creating an ending through this. The messaging creates an ending for especially younger women. And it feels now the priest is a person that back in the day had power, right? Power of the law, made decisions. So they essentially the kids feel like the decision has been made for them. Money, values, unexpected, right? It's unexpected, essentially. Because kids also, this is interesting, right? If you think of AI as a collection of information, I mean, Google was built on the idea that they were going to organize the world's information. So, and this is also libraries. So it's saying this is a, I wouldn't call it a clash, but it is what it is, right? The situation. So what happens to, let's ask what happens next to Eric Schmidt's position, right? So let's just look at it from the different angles. Okay, so what happens to Eric Schmidt's position? So he's saying, you know, be your hat, just be glad that we're presenting this to you. Okay. Okay, and he's sitting and he's like, oh, why is he? He seems despondent or like saying, okay, the stock market goes down, the money, it's not making money to anybody, nobody's making money from it. And it's saying he sees how it has pushed people away. By the way, Eric Schmidt, I wasn't, but before when he was CEO of Google, I didn't really think have much against him. I thought that he had some interesting ideas, but then he leaves technology. He left Google, then he started to get very involved in a lot of defense technology ideas, and he wrote a book with Henry Kissinger. That was a lot for me, honestly. Henry Kissinger is, I'm sorry, do not associate with Henry Kissinger. So anyway, so he's just like, why? So he's just like, oh my god, but why? I mean, you already have like dozens of billions of dollars. Why do you care? See, I have to pay more taxes. And they're not they're not worshiping us. They're worshiping themselves. And it's like, honestly, they're like shocked. It's like they've never met a human. They're like, I mean, because if you're a human, you would immediately understand what's going on, right? They have a voice of their own. Are you serious? They didn't go to Harvard and Stanford and they just have an opinion? I mean, what is that? So so he feels, they saying it's interesting, he feels like he's failed. But okay, but more than that, my question is really about this whole position of like talking down to people and putting these data centers, you know what I mean? Like it's just, this is a thing that gets like that, taking people's jobs and destroying people's lives with these ridiculous data centers. What happens to that? Interesting. It shows me him standing as if he's standing with the outfit that he was wearing in the commencement speech. And then he sees, it's like a train. He's like sees a train, like the train, and there's a compartment of the train. Is that, what is it? Car, right? The part of the train, compartimento. Where like that's his vision and everything that they are selling. It's all very well packaged, but then the train departs, so it doesn't stay, it doesn't stick. Something else comes along. So, and it's saying they were wrong. So interesting. So let's see quickly here how here the world. Interesting. A bikini, huh? Oh, look at the outfit. Chanel dress. The World Alliance. Okay, starting to execute together. The world. That's right. Communities matter more, and exposing that. That's right. So, oh, work, a lot of money, travel, moving on, concern. So, okay. So interesting. Now he starts to realize that taking people's jobs is not the way to go. Again, the young woman, oh, it could also be that, he has involvement with younger women, like sugar daddy kind of thing. So there's issues here with them. Oh, lies exposed. Okay, so he lied. Wow, that's it. So the crazy people, that's right. The mob, I think it's saying he sold a lie. Now, stars, the networks, also foreign. Moving on. This our resources, also organization recognized. So, okay, so the world working, but it's not so working so well for young people. But ultimately, the younger people have, right? They want the future. So, uh, lovers connections with money, and now here's what. Oh, is he in some kind of like? Oh my God, a CX issue. So again, the stuff he was working on has to move along. It doesn't stay because of the lies about the resources, right? And here's theft is exposed. He's concerned. And they realize now this is like, if you look at the AI bubble, it's like the crypto thing. These crazed people are saying like they're obsessed about creating a reality that is just, there's a lot of speculation, in other words, right? So he realizes that the speculation is recognized and that nobody's buying it. People are not buying the narrative in the way they're selling it. Okay. Now the part is, what about the Gen Z kids? What happens to them versus AI? What does their future look like? Okay, versus vis-a-vis AI, okay? Okay, so now the question is, what does the future look like for Gen Z vis-a-vis AI? Okay, so, and the way they're Interesting. I see that they are very sane and they have seen this. It's saying they grew up, they came of age in the Trump administration and Trump administrations the last 10 years or so, right? So they've seen how much lies, how many lies are like how lying is part of like, so they're very, I don't say they're cynical, but they don't believe it, they don't fall for it. And I see that they see exactly what they're being told. They know that this is a scam to take them down, to remove their power. And then I see them turning away from the stage where Eric Schmidt is talking, and they're like talking to each other. They're doing their own commerce, they're doing their thing, and they're creating again, it's much more communal. It's much more about like, let's do something that works for us, everybody, as opposed to like, oh, I want to be a billionaire. I'd like to be a billionaire. And it's saying they know that a lot of these billionaires, the majority of them, are just milking the public. They're exploiting people. They're just creating harm. They're not fooled by it. No, they don't. And it's saying those older people think that they're marks, but they're not. Okay, so they know that they have inherited a system that's rigged against them and that things don't look good. And they're not, it's saying, but still, it shows me that it's a generation that creates community and hope, and it's not in a way, I've said before, they're cynical in terms of the AI thing, but in terms of humanity they're very promising and very full of hope. And they're like, we have to make life good for us because look at climate, and that goes climate change, the economic downturns and all those things that were created by these people directly. So they have to rebuild, not just rebuild, but build a world that's for them. And it's saying this whole AI conversation, the way it's being told to them, it's not, it has nothing to do with their lives. And so they turn their backs on it. And I don't think, so do they get, no, it's saying, no, it's not going to work the way that we're being told it will work. It's not the people that are telling the story of AI today are not going to are going to live to see this story come out the way the technology will be much more humanized. Okay, because they're gonna have to, it's gonna have to work to serve the people as opposed to it being designed to serve the investors or whatever. Okay, and all the pump and dumps and the scams in the stock market. All right, okay. Interesting though. So again, show me what's going to happen to Gen Z vis-a-vis the AI crowd, AI pump and dump crowd. Truth being revealed. Okay, interesting. Now, this is upright people working together, but when it's upside down, it's like the need to do so, like it brings your attention to it. So the need to work together, fighting. So they have to focus on again fighting for, this is the White House, but it's also security and family. Is so interesting. So the focus is on working together, and they will fight even the White House or the values of the White House. Lots of money, talking, woman, news. I wonder if it's also about the EPS, like they're not going to put up with that. Male. And the interesting, I wonder if it's a patriarchy value system. Okay. Okay, so here is gift. Now, gift, interesting. Could mean, I've said before, it could mean bribes, but okay, interesting. So it here is exposing the truth about all the big money behind the men. I think here could be Eric Schmidt because that's the context of the question. Now, people working together, this means the need for people to work together, but also bring attention to the people who are not working for the right together for the right reasons. So this talk leads to an end, right? So the things that don't serve community need to end. And here we have fighting, the women fighting. For that out, the gift, you know how the idea of welfare, there's a lot of corporate welfare. And then here is the man ending the gift for the fake person. That could be Elon, the types of people like Elon Musk, right? They're themselves getting the gifts of the resources and all the money for themselves. Here, the doctor upside down, doctor's advice. So these men are giving the wrong advice. Cheerfulness upside down for their fake. It's sort of like party, you know what I mean? Like it's fake. Interesting. The wife business partners are also in some ways part. It's not exactly about family. It's just more about partnerships, right? And here is joyfulness. That's right. Interesting, but it's interesting. A lot of these cards about they have to do with community, right? And I okay, I just actually made a mistake here. So joyfulness is the lighter one. Is like party or things that doesn't make sense, superficial. Here's actually joy. It's complicated because one is alegria, the other alegrez. So it's saying that we need to focus on joy, and here is to warning against the false celebration, right? But that we have to fix the news about the false person and like the fake. This could also mean this about the stock market, right? That is a fake joy in all of it. So what will the Gen Z do with technology? Okay, what will they build? Okay, objective upside down, the truth coming out, right? Interesting. This is a card of illusions. So the illusions come out. And that interesting, go back to the battle, go back to children. So it's right. They expose the facts, they expose the bullshit and go back to focusing on the values that matter. This is deal. Really concerned, private relationships. Now it's like again this idea of transparency. They want transparency. They make sure that people that things are not like they don't see illusion behind this created behind the scenes, that things are exposed, and they're so tired of bullshit. This is fighting disagreement. And this could be the law or government fighting the government here, losses, so private losses. So that's right, they're going to fight back and to give it's like a righteous society. And I know that the right people are like, oh, it's communism. No, it's not communism. It's like stop the theft. Okay. Here fighting, this is investments. And interesting, they may want to stop the speculation. Okay, here, interesting, exposing, and that's right, and creating mechanisms of justice where the people that create illusions privately, essentially insider trading, and create losses for people, they are exposed. And here, interesting, old tradition. Now, this could be tradition, but I think in some ways, if you think of it's interesting because this is about the child here and the grandmother, but in the sense of like the most vulnerable, right? Creating a world there is fair. And I see that they will be very tough about it. They're not going to be like, some people I discuss, like, oh, I'm not going to do anything. I don't want anybody to be upset. Some of the politicians today, they're like, no, we got to do something about it. Enough is enough. So it feels right. It feels like they are able to rebuild society and to realign things for the better. And it tells me there is no reason why technology is a tool. It is not something that have life. It's saying the idea that the people that keep saying that technology is its own thing and has a life of its own are doing it to escape responsibility and accountability. So very interesting. No, very good. Very interesting. All right. So thank you for watching and have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.